Greetings everybody, coming to you live from behind the wheel of my 320,000 mile Lexus GX470. 320,165 miles on the clock. Today I'm going to bring to light one of Toyota's biggest emission flaws when it comes to this engine right here. Start it up and you will notice that there is a check engine light on. The check engine light will be on and then all of the other hatch lights will come on right after like that. Now you can faintly hear it running, but the secondary air injection pump is running. Ignore the ticking, that is a completely different issue. And there's the pump turning off right there. So the pump is activating, but we still do have lights. I'll go ahead and fire up my code reader here so I can show you what exactly we're working with. So look in here, we have a P1442 and a P1445 code. We have secondary air injection system switch value number 2 bank 1 stuck close, and secondary air injection system switch value number 2 bank 2 stuck close. So as you can see, the secondary air injection pump is not working like it should. They do go bad on these engines, they're known to, it always happens, it's not a matter of if, just a matter of when. Now I'm no mechanic and I'm no expert when it comes to any of this, but if I'm correct, that pump actually helps force air through the exhaust system to heat up the catalytic converters faster with the exhaust emissions when the engine first starts up in order to get them working faster and more effectively. Now the biggest problem here with this going bad is that if you ignore it for long enough, from what I hear, I've been fortunate enough not to have this happen, and I don't know if it's for all vehicles, I don't know if it's just for some Toyotas, but your vehicle will go into limp mode, and if it goes into limp mode, you get reduced power, it makes it near impossible to drive. I don't want that. I don't want to keep this light on my dash. I want to have everything back to normal, so we're going to go ahead and install the Hewitt bypass kit for the secondary air injection system. Now in this box here, we have instructions on how to do everything. We have a little Hewitt technology, thank you for your purchase. We have our bag that has block-off plate, starter relay wire, and then the actual bypass module inside. And then I think it's nice, they give you a nice little pin, a little flashlight for your keychain. Everything is out of the box now. You can see that everything is bagged individually once you take it out. I'm going to go ahead and read the instructions one by one, which is something I typically don't do and usually fight myself later because I didn't. But this kit cost me about $155, and I'd rather not have to buy a second because of my own negligence. There's some introductory material here on the first page. I'm not going to go ahead and read all that to you. If you want to pause and take a look at it, that's all you. But I'll go through the instructions starting with number 1. Step number 1 is listed right underneath of the tools and supplies needed. It's basically just gives you a long-winded way of saying remove the intake air temperature sensor / mass airflow sensor. Typically these GXs will have a cover right here, but mine does not. So I'll go ahead and just pop this out right here. Should just slide on right out. It has probably been quite some time since it has been removed, but little push tab right here. It should wiggle its way back and forth and eventually come out. There we go. There's a little retainer clip right here that holds it in. I'll just pop that out as well. So that was step 1 and step 2. Step 1 was to locate it. Step 2 is to disconnect it. Step number 3 is to connect the bypass module's harness to the intake air temperature mass airflow sensor, and then connect the factory harness to the bypass module's harness. It says that once everything's connected and feels good, it should make a nice little click sound. I have the actual module device unboxed and unbagged now. You can see it's got a little 3M strip right there to actually adhere it. Little connector for the starter wire right there, and then the actual wiring harness here. Now you can see the harness right here for the module. That will just plug in here. And then this will just plug into this. A little hard to do it one-handed, but I'll show you once it's done. There we go. Plugs in and looking nice. I have this sitting up here, just kind of chilling right now. I'm thinking once it's all said and done, I'm going to go ahead and try to mount it somewhere back here. Obviously, you want to keep it away from water, but you can see there's a lot of mud that splashed under here. I've taken this thing through some nice and deep puddles. We'll figure that out later. Alrighty, I said we'd figure that out later. We will not figure that out later. We will figure that out now. Step 4 is to find a good mounting location for this. It says not to mount it to the engine block, cylinder head, valve cover, or other surfaces that will be exposed to high temperature. You'd think that would be common sense, but I guess not. It also says here not to mount the module in a way that there will be stress on the wires or in a location where the wires or harness may contact moving parts such as accessory drive belts or engine cooling fans. Isn't pretty, so yeah. She's mounted up. I went ahead and ran the wiring harness down here underneath the intake hose, and then I mounted the actual module just right onto the back of the airbox here. I should keep it clear of just about everything. Connectors up here are in and secure. This one's a little bit loose. Might try to find some way to hold it down. Might zip tie to the back here too, just to keep it a bit more secure, but for now it is mounted up. Now the next step is where we begin working with that starter relay wire, so I'm going to go ahead and take this cover off and take this off just to make it a little bit easier to work with. This one's obviously pretty damaged and worn, and the clips are broken and not there, so I can just go ahead and pull this out like so. And then for this, there's just two 10mm bolts, one here and one here. Nuts, actually. There's little rods that stick up, and then there's clips on the back that actually hold it on so it can pivot up and then pull off. Ta-da! A little bit dirty under here. Probably wouldn't hurt me to actually go through and clean up a little bit at some point or another, but that's not today's objective. On to step 6. Locate the starter relay in one of the underhood fuse boxes. On most vehicles, the relay is the exact same violet relay as shown in the pictures, usually labeled as ST or STA on the inside of the lid. Missed the fuse box here. Look at that. A little dirty inside too. Ugh. Maybe I'll power wash that out. Just kidding, don't do that. Starter, starter, starter. Where are you, starter? I'm not seeing a violet relay like in the pictures, so I'll have to look through. It's gotta be one of these though. Ah! Star! I guess that is violet, just not exactly the shade that they showed it in the other picture. Now it's in a little bit of a goofy spot. I'm gonna probably just take out this ignition relay so that I can go ahead and pull the starter relay out. There we go, set that aside. And then that should probably give me a bit more lever to be able to get that out here. Or not. Now there are proper fuse and relay pulling tools out there, but if you haven't guessed yet, I don't have that. I'm not getting anywhere wiggling by hand. I'm going to see if I can get my needle nose in here to pull it out. Try to be very gentle with it, not scrape the crap out of the edges like I just did. There we go. Wow, that was really easy and I should have just done that from the start. There she is. Might as well put the ignition relay back in while I'm here. No point in leaving that out. Now once again, according to this diagram here, STA, and the fact that this is the purple relay like the instructions said, that should be the starter relay, but the easiest way to actually test and make sure is to try to start it. Now because there's no starter relay in here, I should turn the key to start, and it should not start. There we go. Correct relay. Apparently that relay also controls a little lighting in the dash because you can see the dash lights are on, but the actual backlit display is not. Which takes us to step number 7, which says, strip the end of the starter relay wire that does not have a terminal on it and temporarily connect it to the terminal as shown in figure 8. Looks like they just stripped it and then wrapped it around the end of that silver terminal there. It very clearly says here not to connect the starter wire to either of the large copper terminals, so once again, I won't. Then to firmly seat the relay back in its socket, make sure the wire is not shorting out to another terminal. If the relay is not fully seated or the terminals seem loose when reinserting it, it may cause an intermittent or no crank condition. The terminal sockets can be tightened by slightly pinching them closed with a set of needle nose pliers, which I just showed you I have on hand. It says here as well to connect it and then to test it to make sure that the voltage comes on when you're actually turning the key and that it turns off otherwise. So as long as the starter is running, it should show you 12 volts or so, and then let off once it's turned off. So I'll go ahead and make sure that's the case. Unpackaging the wire here, it looks like this end is already actually stripped for you. So I'll go ahead and wrap that around. I'm going to match it up to look exactly the same as that one, because I believe that's the 12-volt connection for the relay here. I haven't looked too much into it, but it says to do it like the diagram says, and obviously I'm going to follow the directions as told. So I've got it kind of rigged up here to match this one here. As long as this works, I honestly might try to take this off and put like a drip of solder onto it just to get it to actually hold. I don't really like having loose, small gauge stranded wires hung around there like that. But that's not what I'm too concerned about right now. What I'm going to do is pop this on and make sure it gets 12 volts like it should. I'll grab my meter, I'll plug it in, I'll show you what we're working with. So through some trials and tribulations, I guess I could have checked first. This is actually not correct. This terminal up here is for your ground, and this one back here is for your 12 volts. Let me show you what I mean. I went ahead and I put this on to match how the other one was done on the front one when these two copper terminals are on your left. That would put that wire connection back here instead of right here where it should be. Right here puts out about 5-6 volts when the starter's supposed to engage. This right here doesn't put out anything. So I wasn't getting any power because it was on the wrong terminal. Let me slide it over here and then I should get some power out of that. Let's try this again with it in a different spot this time. Once again, I'm just kind of temporarily rigging this up. I'll actually get a nicer way of getting it done in a minute. On that note, I've got this jammed in here to read there, and I'm going to put on the door latch my negative lead. When I try to start it, it should read between 5 and 12 volts. 10.4. And it should drop out with the starter like that. For reference, this is the door latch that I use for a ground. And I use the valet key, which will not actually turn it over because it shuts off the injectors unless you have the card to go with it, which is why it kept on cranking without starting. Like I said, I wanted to get some solder on here, so I'm the world's okayest solderer. And, yeah, we're going to call that good. As long as it'll hold and as long as it'll go in all the way, we'll call that good to go. Next step number 9 is to actually take that end right here that I was showing you that I was using for testing and get that plugged into the module. I'm going to get it plugged into the module, and then I'm going to see what will be the most convenient and cleanest route to actually get it over from one side to the other. It's going to be a little bit of trial and error, so I'll show you once I get it over there. Here's what I got. I got this purple wire ran down here, tucked through here, little opening right here for this connection here. So I have it down here, loosely strung up there, runs up here, tucks up against the firewall behind that little cover there, and then it just drops down and connects in there. I'm going to zip tie / tape everything up so that it'll stay nice and out of the way. An absolute worst case scenario, if that doesn't work out long term, this is just a cheap piece of copper wire. I have plenty sitting around at any given time, so I'll just make sure that it's good and secure for now, and if it ever does become a problem, I can just reroute it as needs be. Wire is routed and installed. It runs back here, up here, you can kind of see where it runs. I have it just kind of loosely up there. I didn't want it too tight just in case anything ever did need a move. But once again, everything is secured on, taped on, zip tied, and then it lands in the back of the module there. That's everything for module installation. The next thing here is step number 10, which is to install the exhaust block-off plates. Their installation is covered in a separate set of installation instructions for your specific engine that are included separately, which can be found somewhere. I guess I set them somewhere else. Block-off plates. They are held on with 10mm bolts, and it looks like they're in different places depending on the engine. I believe I found mine. I'll show you here. Looking from up here, there is one tucked down there. And on the other side, you can actually see the stud head a little bit. There's another one that is right down there-ish. So, from what I'm reading online, it's easier if you take the wheels off or if you get underneath. I'm going to try to see if I can get behind this rubber liner and see them. Or if I'll have to get underneath. I'll take a look and tell you what I find easier. I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot with this driver's side wheel off. It looks like it's right behind the wheel skirt where the actual exhaust manifold starts. Looking underneath, squeezing around, it seems like there's access up there too. You can kind of see it. But there's this unfortunate thing in my way called a frame. And I can't exactly remove that to be able to access this easier. Wheels off. I'm not very instilled by confidence with how rounded off these studs are, sticking off where I gotta put the blocking plates in. But we're gonna spray that with some penetrating oil and give it some time to sit, and then I guess we're gonna try to hit it. I'll try to see if I can spray the other one too to give it some time to soak. Yeah, I've got very little confidence that that's gonna come out without breaking, but it's been sitting for about 30 minutes. 10mm socket on the end, let's see what I can do. I'm not sure what to do at this point. I'm certainly not happy, but I can't really undo that now. So my plan's going to be to put the wheel back on here, do the other side. The other side looks a lot less rusty. I don't know why that's the case. And then assuming that everything goes well there, round this up to Colby's. I don't have a ton of free time today, but I have some, so at least get some eyes on it. See if he's got any ideas. I've got some ideas. Kinda. I don't know. We're gonna make this work. I just don't know what we're gonna have to do yet. All right, passenger side. Let's see what we got here. So, same type of deal, but it looks to be much cleaner up there. So once again, hopefully it will come off without breaking. Let's see. Well, this one has certainly been more pain-free. I've been able to unscrew them pretty far. I should be able to slide in the block-off plate just as is. I'll see if I can do that now. Block-off plate is in. I slid it up from the bottom going upwards so it fits in there nice and snug. Made sure that it fit in right against the studs. I'll go ahead and tighten it down now. I don't know what the exact torque spec is. I'm just going to go tight, but not too tight to the point where it's going to strip off or break another bolt, because that's the last thing I want to deal with. Block-off plate is in. Once again, I have inbound pipe, then I have gasket, then I have block-off plate, and then I have the flange for the outbound pipe there. Nuts are tightened down, don't have a torque spec on it, just made them so they're snug. I'll listen for exhaust leaks, but I think it should be good to go. In the meantime, I like to consider myself well-knowledge in this kind of stuff, in this mechanical world, and this metal fabrication, but if there's one person I know that is much better than me, and always willing to help, that is Colby. So I'll run this over to Colby's house, get his expertise, and get his eyes on here, and see what he thinks he would do for the other side, which is messed up. I don't know if we'll try to drill it, I don't know if we'll try to cut it, weld it, what we'll try to do. I think that's a problem for another day, though, for the sole fact that I have places to be, and by the time I get over there, this exhaust is going to be piping hot, and I will not want my hands anywhere near it. I'm about to head over to Colby's, but right before I do, I think it's funny here. Be very careful not to strip the nuts or break a stud. Removing a broken stud bolt or a stripped nut is extremely difficult in the area shown in Figure 1. How would you look at that? Figure 1 is exactly where I broke it. Thanks, guys. Back to the instructions though, since I have to skip over number 10, number 11 is to clear the engine trouble codes using an OBD2 scanner. So I'll go ahead and do that now. Yes, I know the job isn't technically done, but it's all that I can do for now until I get everything fixed. Clearing the codes here, and it looks like I'm still getting some there. Oh, nope, they are all cleared. Let's go ahead and start it and make sure that everything's off. And I shouldn't hear the pump running if I go outside. All I hear is fan noise, which is common for a cold engine, but I don't hear the pump running, which is a good thing. It sounds like it's idling just like it should. Now, obviously I'm not thrilled about the fact that I even have to be doing more repairs than I wanted to, but I think the reason I'm not too terribly mad about this is because I knew it was just about bound to happen. As soon as I found out that I had to do anything with the bolts connected to the exhaust manifold, or anything of the sort, I knew there was probably going to be some room for messing up. Not even messing up, just stuff to break. The 320,166 mile manifolds are original as far as I'm aware, and pretty much every single other piece of exhaust hardware is too. There's no service history of exhaust repairs on here. I bought this off of family and they don't know of any either. So it was bound to happen. Everything else went super smoothly though. The rest of the install, Hewitt makes a great instruction manual for this, very easy to follow. That seems to be the only hiccup that we're really facing, so we'll get this sorted out. It's just a matter of what we gotta do. After some very, very serious discussion and a whole lot of brainstorming, we have decided to go with kind of the same thing that I was thinking. We're gonna try to drill it out first. I might be able to fit a 90-degree head in there with a small bit. I don't know, and there's only one way to find out. So we're gonna go ahead and see if I can do that. If I can't do that, the next thought is just gonna be to tack weld it and slap on some sloppy MIG welding and see what we can get out of that. But it's not gonna be done right per se, but it's gonna be done to work. So that's kind of what I'm going for here. In the meantime, that's going to be a couple days from now. I'm obviously driving the car now, and the exhaust is still very hot. I got some places to be, so I don't have time to do it tonight. But for you guys, it'll only be about 5 seconds after I finish talking, if even that we begin working on this. So, catch you then. It's Wednesday now. Last I talked to you all, it was Sunday. So it's been a few days. I'm on my way to Colby's now, so we can hopefully get the exhaust banged out on the Lexus. I want to knock that off because I have some other things coming up on the priority list, and I want to make sure that that is not blocking their way. I bought some very small stubby drill bits from O'Reilly Auto Parts. Home Depot didn't carry them, which surprised me, but O'Reilly had a nice little set in stock for $22, so I decided to buy them. We'll give them a try. I'm going to see if I can drill everything out first, and then weld as the last resort. Let's see what we can do. Let the old girl cool down for a bit. She still overheats a lot. All right, we're getting creative here. I've got the tire off, like I was saying. I think it'll fit back there. I have my stubby bit here, which you can see just barely sticks out of my 90-degree bit. It fits back there. I don't know if I'll be able to get it straight. Hopefully I can, and hopefully I'll be able to get enough pressure on it. But I've got an 18-inch extension here that I have going off my drill that'll go into there, and I'll feed it and try to drill it out the back there. I think I can get it. Maybe. I sprayed it with some PB Blaster just for some lubrication. And then I have a third of a Dr. Pepper can full of 80W90 gear oil that I'm going to use to lubricate this bit. So, it's not professional, but maybe it'll work. It's pretty firm on the maybe. I'm starting with a 3/16 bit, and if I need to, I'll work my way up to a 1/4 inch, but let's see what we can do here. My hands are small, but they're not that small. This fit a minute ago. I can't see it all where I'm drilling right now. This is a risky game. That's awesome, dude. I know, right?
I was about to say, are you making any progress?
I'm going in and out because I want to preserve this bit because I don't have a spare. Here, let's. Oh, there's more rust chunks falling out. Please stop. Oh, there's so much rust falling off. Oh, that's like coming from the firewall too. That's not what we like to see, I'll tell you that much.
Oh, that broke. The bit fucking broke. I knew it wouldn't take long. Well, I have a pair of needle nose somewhere. Coming back with a 1/4 inch this time. I don't have much faith, but yeah, I'm starting to really lose hope here. I think one of the biggest problems is I can't get any like back pressure on it. Mention how much I love living in the salt belt. Let's see if I can pick any rust out of there. The bit's not even starting to go through.
You need a smaller bit. You need like a pilot bit first.
I just snapped the pilot bit.
You did?
Yeah, it's not going in there. It got stuck in there. It snapped.
Awesome.
Like, I don't even know how we can separate those two, because if you pull apart at the flanges, they're not getting bent back together to weld it.
Burn it.
I like watching all the rust come off. I think that's my favorite part about this. You can kind of see some smoke wafting out in there. I got a little bit creative and I sprayed it down with a whole bunch of PP blaster, tried drilling it, didn't really get too far, and then hit it with some heat and we got separation there. So at the very minimum, we're going to be able to get the plate in there. I don't know how well it's picking up on camera, but they will pull apart now. I just got to figure out what I'm going to do about this, whether I'm going to keep trying to drill it out or whether I'm just going to go ahead and throw some tack welds on it and call it good. I burned a little bit of the manifold gasket too right there, but we're gonna pretend I didn't do that and more rust just fell off. I'm gonna do a separate video soon, I think, just showing how bad the rust is getting on here. I like it. Alright, so newest development here. I can't see a way in which this is going to get fixed as is. You can see it's all shiny there because I took the die grinder to it. If the camera wants to focus on it, there we go. Took the die grinder to it and shinied it up. And because it's a stud and not a bolt head, there's not going to be anything to really punch through. I was able to squeeze the plate in there. I don't know if I showed you that yet. It's up against that little gasket. But the people online said that it's what they ended up doing. I was trying to see if there's another way that I could do without it. We're breaking out the welder. Colby's got a much more steady hand and a much more experienced hand when it comes to welding. He's welded probably, I don't know, 5 million times more than I have. I've welded probably 6 times in my life. So he's definitely, yes, he's the more experienced hand to go in here for the operation. It's not going to be pretty. Maybe it will be pretty, but I just need it to be effective.
It's not going to be pretty.
It's not going to be pretty. We just need it to work.
I don't know what it is, but it's something.
Pretty? No. Effective? Let's find out.
Don't hate on me too hard.
Hey, we both agreed it wouldn't be pretty. It would have been a lot uglier if I did it. Fan is going crazy, but I don't feel anything leaking out. It is kind of hard to tell, and my exhaust is quickly getting hot.
Well, she starts, she runs, she drives, and it does have a slight little leak, but that's nothing that we're not going to be able to fix. I'm probably going to get some putty, some JB Weld putty, fit it in there, and then maybe put some exhaust wrap on it just to hold it. Not going to record that because it's not what the main focus of the video here is, but just kind of giving you some insight as to what I'm doing. Anyways, I'm going to call it here for that video. Big thanks to Colby for his willingness to help tonight, as it is now 10 p.m. and we have work early in the morning. So, as usual, it's a weeknight and I'm up late working on my car. I'm going to go to bed, catch some Z's, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to Colby once again, and I will see you in the next one. I already said that. Bye.